Is there a new king in Madrid? Atalanta continue to do it for the A.
Bayern, man, they look mortal for the first time this season, and Chelsea cannot stop winning. All this and much, much more on this episode of the No Business Soccer Podcast.
Let's dig in. Oh yes, I swear one day we'll get the timing perfect on that. Until then, I think I'm just gonna hold out the let's dig in, and it'll just cut me off. Oh, but anyways, welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host Snooze. I'm here with almost a complete fam. We have Danny P in the back on the 1 and 2s, and of course, Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
I'll tell you what, I got a treat today. This right here is a limited release from right here in Austin, still Austin. It's called Tanager. It's one of their cigar cut blends that they have here. They have just absolute beautiful boxing. Look at this.
Hey, you don't need to be just stunting on them like this. Calm down, bro.
And it is absolutely amazing. It's going to be hard not to just continue drinking this, but absolutely delicious. Haven't had it with cigar yet, and it is a cigar blend, so I have a feeling it's only going to get better. But cheers, everyone.
Cheers, sir. Cheers to you as well. And welcome back. Like I said, we have a lot to cover. We are going through a European wraparound or reach around, whichever way you prefer it. But we have a lot to talk about. And I think we have some updates first, starting with Austin FC. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. Let's do the Austin FC minute. I don't know if that delayed or was that just me. I don't know, but we'll fix it in post. It might be me. My connection's pretty bad. Austin FC minute. Austin just announced that they will be announcing the schedule Thursday. So keep your ear to the ground on the 9th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we get to see who's going to be visiting Austin and see, how much tickets would be going for or how excited we're going to be. We're still hoping for a Miami game here in Austin. See if we get Messi down here and see him play if he wants to play at that time.
He feels like it.
Yeah. And also, do not forget, the All-Star game is coming to Austin as well next year.
Oh.
Who will they play? Well, the Real Madrid president, Florentino Perez, was here in Austin watching a game just before they announced the All-Star game was going to be in Austin. So, Kim, are we getting an MLS All-Star squad versus Real Madrid? Could be. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
We're definitely gonna find out. I hope so. But they'll probably announce that later on this year or something like that. But only time will tell. Other than that, Austin FC, and I should have done more research, did get 3 new coaches. They have a lot of experience. There's some coming from Valencia, which we will talk about a little bit later. They have some coming from Juarez in the Mexico League as well. And they did keep Arnaud as well. And he's been absolutely amazing for Austin FC. So new coaches are coming in. Everything's starting to get into place. There's a few more just key talents that they're trying to bring in, which I don't want to speculate. So whenever we get some more word and more concrete evidence that they're going to be coming by, we'll be reporting that to you guys as well. And that's all I got for the Austin FC minute. Snooze, you got anything you want to add?
No, I'm excited. I saw the email come through about the schedules, and it's gonna be fun. It's crazy because you see it and you're like, hey, this is what I'll be doing from February through October. And if they make the playoffs, it didn't even end until like last weekend.
Yeah,
playoffs are way too long. MLS playoffs are just ridiculous. I don't like it. But anyway, that's your Austin FC minute, brought to you by Covert Ford. I'm just kidding. That'd be insane. Okay, I know. Now we're gonna get sued for saying that. Anyway, all right. Well, I think. No, we do have a Wrexham recap. So let's go ahead and go to our favorite place in the world, Wales, with the Wrexham recap. And today, I have a surprise for you guys. I didn't even tell you about this. Going through my local Target here in Round Rock, Pflugerville, I found a Stoke coffee that has Wrexham on it
Holy crap.
It says up the town, down the hatch.
There it
and
goes.
legit like cold brew coffee. And it's just ridiculous that a League One team is on the shelves in a Target in Texas. That is crazy.
Awesome.
So yeah, cool. So hey, some stuff.
Oh, whoa. Okay, we got to cheers you on that.
I'll cheers you to that.
There
right there.
Go.
As it's a bold blend. I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about that. Anyway, thought that was pretty cool. I had to buy it. I bought two actually. So
Nice.
Wrexham did have a match this past weekend. They ended up drawing to Cambridge United, and I think I cursed Wrexham as they're only able to salvage that 2-2 draw. When I mean salvage it, if you recall, I said that I hoped that they would get at least a few goals past this team and get them early so that we didn't have to sweat out another game. They had been going through a lot of 1-0 wins, and my smack talk backfired. The team that was 22nd in the table decided to play a hell of a game. And this result did stop Wrexham's string of wins at 4 and drops them outside of the automatic promotion places into third at the current table. But on a night when Billy Joel, Channing Tatum, and other famous people were there, just wasn't meant to be. But at least they get to see a lot of goals. The League One grind does continue, though. As you know, there's a plenty of games. They don't really have a break in that league. They do take on Wrexham takes on Bristol Rovers, who are currently sitting 20th in the table, so a little bit higher up than the 22nd team. But a game they definitely should be winning. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to curse them anymore. And then I will just say I'm not going to jinx it. Up the town, down the hatch. That's pretty cool, dude. I was really excited for that.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, man. I got my dad gang hat on. We got some European soccer going on at all days of the week. It's pretty awesome to be able to just sit down, hold the little baby girl, and just watch some soccer. And so with that said, we have a lot to discuss. So let's jump right into it. Let's start in Spain.
Sure. To La Liga.
Yes, the best song, I think, in my humble opinion. Friday, Real Valladolid victors Voley gets just their third win of the season against fellow cellar dwellers Valencia. This was a huge match with relegation implications, and Valladolid were up for the challenge. Espanyol and Osasuna finished 0-0, and any points will do for Espanyol, but for Osasuna, that's now 4 straight draws. That was on Saturday. We're all on Saturday now, guys, okay? Donny van de Beek's filthy finish wasn't enough as Mallorca get a 2-1 win over Girona at home. They even went down a man at 1-1 and still came away with all 3 points, albeit the last goal was just straight stupidity by Girona. If you haven't seen it, just check it out. It's really dumb. Sevilla get a much-needed 1-0 win over Celta Vigo in an emotional night at the Estadio Ramon Sánchez Pizjuán, as Jesus Navas played his last home match, as he heads to an early retirement. We'll talk about more on Jesus Navas in a moment. In a Madrid derby, Rayo Vallecano get a hard-fought 3-3 draw against Real Madrid. Rayo went up 2 goals, then lost the lead and had to fight to get the equalizer. What a match and what heart Rayo Vallecano showed in this one. On Sunday, Atletico Madrid get a 1-0 win over Getafe, and that takes them level on points with Barca in a match with a match in hand. In Getafe, who, although they're in the relegation scrap at the moment, they have the third best goals against in La Liga with 14. I think a few more results and they'll be fine, especially with that defense. Athletic Club and Alaves finish 1-1, which is great for Alaves, as any points will do where they're at. But a draw stops Bilbao's 4-game La Liga winning streak, and that's not good. Betis went down a man in the first half, but they still managed to get a 2-1 win over Villarreal thanks to a perfectly placed free kick from the in-form Gio Lo Celso. Miss you, buddy. La Real and Las Palmas finished 0-0, and I don't know how they're doing it, but Las Palmas continue to frustrate their opposition that are much more talented and bigger squads, but they're starting to rack up points, and I don't think Las Palmas are thinking about getting back to that relegation scrap anytime soon. We'll find out. Vic will tell us. Barcelona fall 1-0 to Leganés after thoroughly dominating the match. I'm talking about 20 shots to 6, 81% possession, 778 passes to Leganés' 199, and they had zero luck with all of that. Really bad luck for them as Barcelona falls to Leganés 1-0. Okay, Vic, where does that leave us with the table?
Yeah, well, Barcelona's been really out of shape lately, but they are still on top with 38 points. They are tied with Atletico Madrid, and Atletico Madrid have a game in hand. They also have 38 points and have been on fire with 6 straight wins. So, probably won't see Barcelona on top pretty soon, but we will see. Shake things up. I like it. Real Madrid are in third spot. Their draw did not help. They would have been clear in the first spot if they had won. They do have 37 points, and right behind them is Atletico Bilbao, is what I call them. They have 33 points, a little bit of a gap in there. And furthermore, there's a gap from fourth to fifth. 27 points is Mallorca in the fifth, tickling the top four. So trying to get in there, but you're starting to see some gaps over there near the Europa League stages or places and further down. But at the bottom, there's a tighter gap there. Espanyol is in 18th. They have 14 points. And right behind them, my Voli Dolis, the Real Valladolid, have 12 points. But underneath them is good pals Valencia. They do have 2 games on hand. Obviously, they still got a lot of making up to do, but they are on a 3-game losing streak. And, with Real Valladolid getting a win and Espanyol getting a draw, they're getting some points out of this. Hopefully, Valencia can get some more points in their games that they have to make up. So, yeah, we'll see how things end up, but it's getting kind of close down there and, a little close on top, too. There's some things shaking up, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, the La Liga table is definitely shaping up to be a fight. We have more in the talking points to go along with that. So what a great segue here. Thanks, Vic. But before we get into the table talk, let's talk a little about a legend for Sevilla, Jesus Navas. What a career in club football as well as on the international stage for Navas. Per TalkSport, an article I was reading, he's a true club legend. Navas has made 702 appearances for his boyhood club Sevilla, helping them to 4 Europa League crowns, as well as a UEFA Super Cup and 2 Copa del Reys. He also spent 4 years with Manchester City, where he made 183 appearances and helped them to their second Premier League title in 2013-2014, which was his first season at the Etihad. For Spain, he won 56 caps and helped his country to a World Cup glory in 2010, while also helping them win the European Championships in 2012 and just this past summer in 2024. Essentially, he's really good at football. He's been good at it, and he's been a key cog in all the teams he's played for. And he had to call it quits because of just chronic hip pain. Essentially, he had no cartilage left in his hip. So every time, think about that. Every time you're like running on that and you're stomped down, it's just bone on bone for him. He a lot of his statements were like, if he plays a match, he can't walk for 2 or 3 days after that match. So it's just time to call it quits after that.
Damn. Yeah.
Painful.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But his final match will be against Real Madrid next weekend or this coming weekend. And then he'll call it quits for forever, which, why did I put it like that? That sounds horrible, but he's retiring. Okay. He's retiring. Okay. Now we'll talk a little bit about the table for La Liga, and Barcelona have 1 win in their last 6 La Liga matches, which is insane. They played Leganés, Betis, Mallorca, and the mighty Las Palmas, Real Sociedad, and Celta Vigo. And we went over the stats last time, so I won't bore you again with them, but just know that it's weird, and they are killing it in the Champions League, but not so much in La Liga, which I don't really know what's going on there. On top of that, Real Madrid dropped points this weekend too. And all the while, like Vic said, Atletico Madrid have just been balling out as they are continuing to rack up the wins, and they're slowly climbing up that table and closing that gap quick. This might be their best opportunity, talking about Atletico Madrid, to win the league since they won it back in the COVID year in 2020. And I think it's really going to be a huge sign for how this season's going to end this weekend as we get Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona on Saturday. And man, that's going to be a juicy one. I can't wait to see it. The way that both teams have been playing, it seems like it's written that Atletico are going to win, but you never know. Barca just turn up when they can. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. And besides this Getafe game that just won 1-0, I mean, they've been winning 3-1, 4-3, 3-1, 5-0, 6-0. That's the Champions League. So they're putting some points up, man. They're out there just firing on all cylinders and scoring some goals. So they're fun to watch right now too. And they're just looking good, man. It should be on top here pretty soon.
This Saturday is going to be so much fun. I
Yes.
hope it's not like the early game. Nah, there's no way it could be like the 7 a.m. game.
No, it's a 2 p.m. game for us Saturday.
Oh, perfect.
Night game.
Perfect. Right. I think Texas starts at like 3:30 though, don't they? Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Double screening it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I wanted to talk about for the La Liga table. We do have a lot of games coming thick and fast. But not necessarily for La Liga. La Liga does have a break. I think the break is from like December 22nd through January 12th. So there's just going to be no La Liga games. It's going to be crazy. But we'll still have plenty to talk about with the other leagues that are going on. I don't think Serie A or Premier League has any breaks. So with that, Vic, you want to head to Italia?
Sure. We can talk to the Italians over there. To Serie A.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In Serie A, match day 16 on Friday, Torino beat Empoli 1-0 after Shea Adams' half-court shot catches the Empoli keeper out. Torino get their first win in their last 5 Serie A matches. Is it called a half-court shot? Probably not. Everybody will probably tell me I'm dumb, but it's apropos. Is that another word? I don't even know what that means. I think that makes sense.
I understand if there's that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Saturday, Atalanta get a 1-0 win over Cagliari as Nicolo Zaniolo's second half goal was enough to get it done. That's now 10 straight Serie A wins for Atalanta. Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. They are on fire right now. After trailing Udinese 1-0 at halftime, Napoli stormed back in the second half to get a 3-1 win and get back on track after their loss last weekend. This one ends Napoli 3, Udinese 1. Juventus dropped points against bottom of the table Venezia as they split the points in a 2-2 draw. It took a Vlahovic stoppage time penalty to salvage the point for Juve. Disappointing showing for the old lady. Sunday, the Milkmen get a 2-1 win over Monza. Wins have been hard to come by for Lecce as it's just their 4th of the season. But for Monza, they are now even on points with Venezia for holding up the rest of the table, as Vic says. Bologna get a much-needed win over Fiorentina as this one ends 1-0. Bologna might have just played their best match of the season as they give Viola just their second loss of the campaign. And it stung, I'm not going to lie. Verona get it done against Parma 3-2 to stop their skid of 4 straight losses. Parma now have lost 3 of their last 5 Serie A matches. I gave them a shout out. I didn't give them their flowers completely, but they spit in my face. Thanks, Parma, for making me look dumb. Como get just their 3rd win of the season against Roma as they finished 2-0. Unfortunately for Roma, they could not keep the good vibes going from their last win in the previous match day. And that's now 4 L's in the last 5 Serie A matches for Claudio Ranieri's men. Not a good start. And Milan and Genoa finished 0-0 as the curious case of this year's Milan team continues. And finally, the final game of the Serie A match day 16, we had Lazio and Inter throw down in a top of the table clash. Honestly, I was really excited to watch it. We were talking about it a little earlier. It was not fun to see who's a contender and who's a pretender. And Inter were just battle tested and came out just throwing bows. They beat Lazio 6-0 and quickly established dominance in that one. Vic, what does that leave the table at?
Yeah, so Atalanta, again, like you said, 10 straight wins, absolutely on fire. They're on top with 37 points. You would think with those 10 straight wins, they'd have a clear-cut, kind of lead, but Napoli right behind them with 35 points. They haven't been in the greatest shape. They got 3 wins, 2 losses and a draw in the past 6 matches, but they're still right there behind them, keeping up with them. Inter Milan, after their thrashing, have 34 points, and Fiorentina rounding out the top 4 with 31 points. Lazio is tied with them in the 5th spot with 31 points, and Juventus has 28 points in the 6th spot. So they're over there battling for the Europa spots. Taking a look at the bottom of the table, Cagliari has 14 points, and Monza and Venezia will not go down without a fight, trying to be in the very bottom with 10 points apiece. It's pretty crazy that, they both have two losses, 2 draws in the past 4 games for each one of them. And like just one more draw, like one more win gets you out of this. Like it's so close, pretty close down there. But, it's hard to say. A couple of call-outs about this table, though. Hellas Verona, 0 draws. They either win or lose. We're 16 games in. That's crazy. It is 5 wins, 11 losses. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. That's like an MLS thing. You know what I mean? Anyway,
they're going to go out. They're going out on their shield. They don't care how it happens.
Yeah. And another quick little call out: the top 6: Atalanta, Napoli, Inter Milan, or Milan, Fiorentina, Lazio, Juventus, all big names that you kind of just But number 7, Bologna, as I saw, Bologna, have 25 points. They're knocking on the door of those Europa League spots. And not a name you really see up there. Bologna, but see up there, right above AC Milan. So it's pretty crazy that they're knocking on the door. And let's see how they can finish up the season.
And that is why you are a professional, my good sir, because Bologna.
That's what we call it.
You got me messed up now. Bologna is the first talking point in Serie A that I had. So don't look now, but I think Bologna are on the come up is my tagline. And I'm sorry to do it, but I think it's time to give them their flowers.
Doomed them.
Bologna, they've played 15 matches in Serie A so far. And in the first 8, they went 1 win, 6 draws, and 1 loss with 9 goals for and 11 goals against. That's why you don't. I remember at the beginning of the season, we were kind of like, we didn't like the way they started, and we'll talk about why here in a second. But in the past 7 matches since then, they've gone 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss with 12 goals for and 7 goals against. So they've obviously turned things around, figured something out, and they've now climbed into 7th place, I think it was that you were saying. Mm-hmm. So they're just right outside, and obviously they finished in the Champions League places last season. And we talked about in the summer that they were always going to regress a bit because of losing their 2 best players and their manager after what a great season they had to kind of surprise everybody in Serie A last season. Plus the added stress of all the fixtures from the Champions League, and not just the stress from having the fixtures, but the fixtures they're playing some of the best teams in the world, right? It's not like Conference League where you can kind of have a B squad go out there and bag a point. This is like you're playing Barcelona and Dortmund, and all these teams are really good. So a little bit different of a European competition they see themselves in. But what I didn't realize is how well Vic's Italian alter ego Vincenzo Italiano has his boys playing right now. It's just insane that we see them and we know that they're a team that are in the Champions League, so we expect them to be decent. But the fact that you see how they've switched it on, I can't even tell you really what happened other than they started winning more, scoring more, and allowing goals less. Like if that's how you win, right?
It usually helps. Yeah,
usually helps. Yeah. And so I'm really excited to see how this goes on. And like I was saying, with Torino and Verona on deck, they could be sitting pretty at the coming up towards the halfway mark. So yeah, let's see how they do. Like Vic said, we'll see. Anything else on Bologna?
I mean, good. Okay. Yeah, it's hard because that's how you spell bologna here in America. So it's hard not to say bologna. Like, don't feel bad if you do.
I mean, we looked it up. Bologna is from that's technically what it is. I
used to eat bologna as a kid. You ever fried the bologna as a kid? Where it pops up in a.
I was more of a spam guy. Not a, like more of a spam guy.
And it had that little red ring around the edge.
Oh, I remember it. Yeah, you had to pull that off. And that always freaked me out. Like, why does it have to be plastic around it? That just doesn't seem right.
It came in a casing.
Yeah,
it came in a casing like a sausage.
Just saying,
but it was just like spare parts of other animals. Anyway,
what I did eat a lot of is those Vienna sausages.
Me too.
Are those from Vienna? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I used to eat those too.
Oh my god!
Pop the can open. Just
yeah.
Drain a little bit of the liquid out, but not all of it.
Oh, that liquid. You got to eat and drink it. That's the best. Just kidding. Don't do that. All right. Next talking point. Juve are kind of having a weird 24-25 season as they still have not lost a single match in Serie A, but they've only won 6 and drawn. They've only won 6 and drawn 10 times already. 10 draws is 6 more than the next team in those European places. And while being unbeaten nearly halfway through the season is amazing, if you're Juve, you got to win some of those games. You can't draw 10 times. Looking at the raw stats, I really can't tell where they're lacking either. It's kind of hard. They ranked 5th in goals for, and they have the third best goals against in Serie A. Those numbers, they are where they should be, but for some reason they're not getting it done more than, these draws that are happening to them. So after that shock draw with Venezia, that's now 4 draws in a row. So, they have 10, right? There's 4 right there. They do get Monza before a date with Fiorentina as we close out 2024 in Serie A at least. So let's see if Thiago Motta can get that old lady back on track. But I know Juve, we have a buddy of Vic's that's a fan, and I'm just curious how they feel about this team so far, because that's crazy. They haven't lost a single time. Like, you got to feel excited, but then also, like, you're also not winning that much.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring him on as a special guest.
Hey, there you go.
Our first special guest here. Yeah, probably won't do it right now. He's in Venezuela. He's part Venezuelan too. So he's in Venezuela.
Okay.
Yeah, we're reminded every day in meetings where he tries to share his screen and there's nothing there because the connection's terrible.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, we might have him on. We'll see. We'll give him a call. We'll send over the contract. We'll talk to his people and see what we can do.
I'm sorry for the Venezuelan hate that he just spewed right there too. I love you, Venezuela.
No hate, just internet.
Okay. Well, let's move right along. I think we are ready to go to Bundesliga.
I like it. To Bundesliga.
Yes, sir. I do have to start off, unfortunately, with match day 14 on Friday. The curse of the flowers continues as Freiburg get a 3-2 win over Wolfsburg. Freiburg were up 3-0 in this one before Wolfsburg mounted a comeback, but it was too little, too late. And again, with the flowers, man, I don't understand. We'll see. I gave some out this week. Saturday, Gladbach whoop up on Holstein Kiel as they get a 4-1 win at home. You knew it was going to be bad when Gladbach scored in the first 37 seconds of the match. Kiel only got 1 goal, but if you're going to get 1 goal, get one like, I think his name is Gigovic. Anyway, just watch it. The goal that they got was just straight filthy. It was awesome. It's business as usual as Leverkusen get a 2-0 win over Augsburg on the road. Florian Lil Uzi Wirtz gets on the score sheet again, and that's now 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 Bundesliga matches for Wirtz. Man, boy's on fire. Union Berlin and Bochum split the points as they finished 1-1. Strangely enough, Bochum had lost 3 straight prior to this draw, and they were down to 10 men after just 12 minutes into this match. And needless to say, Union are slumping real hard right now if you can't get a point or 3 points after that. Bayern lose for the first time in the Bundesliga this season as they fall to Mainz 2-1 thanks to a brace from Jae Sung Lee. Check out Sung Lee's second goal. It was just perfect pirouette, and the build-up to the goal was perfect too. It was great. Good day for Mainz, bad day for Bayern. Werder Bremen get a 2-0 road win over St. Pauli. That's now 4 losses in their last 5 Bundesliga matches for St. Pauli. The win gets Bremen up to 9th, but level on points up to 7th in the table, as Vic will show us here in a second. Sunday, Stuttgart get a routine 3-1 win over Double H, as I call them, Heidenheim, as they continue to play themselves back into form. That's now 6 straight Bundesliga losses for Heidenheim. And remember, they were in the Conference League last season after finishing 8th, and now they are in a relegation battle. Just insane. A Gio Reyna screamer wasn't enough for Dortmund to get past Hoffenheim as they split the points in a 1-1 draw. Adeyemi had at least 2 to 3 solid chances to extend that lead, but Dortmund failed to do so, and a stoppage time goal salvages a point for Hoffenheim. I really felt like Dortmund let this one go. The Bundesliga headliner saw Leipzig beat Frankfurt 2-1 in an entertaining match. When I say entertaining, I mean that they combined for 35 shots and 15 on target. Šeško has now scored in back-to-back matches for the first time this season, and along with Lil Uzi Wirtz, they are both getting on fire. Vic, what'd that table do, dog?
Yeah, taking a look at the table, you'll see Bayern Munich on top. They haven't been in the best form. They have a draw, win, and loss in the last 3 matches, but they are on top with 33 points. Underneath them is Bayern Leverkusen with 29 points. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. 2 draws just before that. Haven't lost in a while. And Eintracht Frankfurt is tied with RB Leipzig for the 3rd and 4th spots, respectively, with 27 points. And just underneath them, tickling the top 4 is Freiburg, has 24 points. Stuttgart right underneath them with 23rd points. They're both in the Europa League spots there. And again, like you called out, mine is just right underneath him in the 7th spot. But if you take a look at the table, Freiburg has 24 points, and then it goes all the way down to the 11th spot, Borussia Mönchengladbach.
You struggle every time with that.
Every time, yeah. But Im Gladbach, as it says on the table, with 21 points. Yeah. A total of 3 points separates 5th spot from the 11th spot. So it's definitely going to be some mix up there going in the next couple of weeks. What you don't see a big gap on is the bottom 2. Holstein Kiel has 5 points, and Bochum, Bochum have 3 points. 2 of those points come in the last 5 matches for them, so they haven't been too great. But Holstein Kiel, the fact that they're just a win away from being in the dead spot. By the way, Bochum has been playing all year. Man, they have not been doing good at all. They have 3 of their points came in the last 6 matches. They had a win. They have been on 5 straight losses. But man, they're just this close away from being at the bottom with Bochum. And not good company down there in the bottom too. But at least we have absolutely no kind of dispute on who we think should be relegated this year so far.
So far, no, it's pretty clear cut for the Bundesliga. But the top of the table, they're starting to inch up there, like you were saying. Bayern's starting to drop some points. I'm just saying I don't want to see that because just Harry Kane needs to win a freaking trophy to get this stupid stigma off of him. It would be some BS if like the 2 years that he's in Munich, they don't win the league. That's ridiculous. So anyway,
maybe you gave him his flowers. And that's why just didn't.
I'll be giving him flowers till the day he dies. Okay, there's enough flowers for me to Harry Kane.
Poor Harry Kane never stood a chance.
All right. Well, speaking of Harry Kane, look at us being professional. With Harry Kane out with an injury, Bayern are starting to look mortal, as we talked about, and they dropped points in 2 of the last 3 matches they've had in the Bundesliga. They are still in good shape in the table, like Vic showed us. But what those drop points really mean is that they've allowed the top 4 teams to gain some ground on them. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to catch them this week, maybe not even next week, but they have gained some ground. 4 points to Leverkusen in second, who are on a 4-game winning streak in the Bundesliga, and 6 points from Frankfurt and Leipzig in 3rd and 4th place. Like Vic was saying, it's getting very tight up there, and there's a lot of games. I think there's only 2 games before their break, something like that, to look it up. We'll know for sure by Thursday's show. But either way, there's going to be some tough games coming up, and it looks like Bayern are starting to slump a bit. If they can't pull themselves out of it, that gap can be real close going to the halfway mark. And then speaking of Frankfurt, they've now dropped back-to-back points. They've now dropped points in back-to-back games. As we talked about a couple weeks ago, we weren't sure if they were the real McCoy or if they were really in this title race as they were sitting second. And for now, it seems like they aren't. It seems like they're defensively, anyways. They're not sure enough to challenge them for that title, but they do have the offensive firepower to go at them. Leipzig had been in a slump, so the fact that they lost that game, I would have, if I was betting, I probably would have put money on Frankfurt. I didn't, but Vic's favorite team to say, Eintracht Frankfurt. They kind of proved to me that they aren't ready for the big time yet, which sucks. But on the other side of that, Vic, Leipzig have back-to-back wins and a chance to really announce themselves as a contender as they face Bayern Munich this coming weekend. So we get Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. We get Bayern Munich versus Leipzig. Man, it's going to be a good weekend. I do have a sneaky suspicion, though, that this Leipzig club are set up to solely bring in young players and cash out on them. And they're good enough to be in Europe because of all this talent they have, but they're not really good enough to win anything. But before I start talking smack, or before I make a conclusion about Leipzig, go beat Bayern, and then we'll talk. You know what I mean? If you're real, go beat Bayern.
It's gonna be some good games, man. There's some good games coming up.
I'm excited. And that is it for the Bundesliga. And now, for everybody's favorite league.
To the Prem. Here we are.
Here we are. Actually, we aren't because I didn't have my notes up. Let me go. There we go.
We'll fix it in post.
I know, right?
Don't fix it, Daddy B. Don't fix it.
I heard that. Premier League match day 16. Saturday, Arsenal and Everton finished 0-0 at the Emirates, and that's now 2 draws in a row for the Gunners, while Everton have only lost once in their last 5 Premier League matches, which is pretty good for them. That's pretty good. Wolves lose in stoppage time to Ipswich 2-1 in a must-win scenario for both teams that are right in the thick of a relegation scrap. Wolves sacked Gary O'Neill after this loss, and we'll dig into some more sacked managers in a moment. Sounds a little weird. Newcastle get past Leicester with ease as they cruise to a 4-0 win. Newcastle looked dangerous and full of energy in this one, but it's pretty easy to look good against Leicester, at least at this moment. Liverpool and Fulham finished 2-2, which continues a string of impressive performances for Fulham. You would say a draw at home to Fulham isn't a good result for Liverpool, but the fact that they played the bulk of this match a man down, we'll give them a pass. Right, Vic? We'll give them a pass. We'll talk about this more in a second. Nottingham Forest take all 3 points from Aston Villa as this one ends 2-1. This was just a fun match to watch. Johan Duran scores again, and Chris Wood continues his hot streak in the Prem this season. And, of course, a stoppage time winner to top it all off. The City Ground was on fire this weekend. What a match. Go check out the highlights if you haven't. On Sunday, Crystal Palace get a much-needed 3 points and a 3-1 win over Brighton. Palace probably just played their best match of the season, while Brighton have now only won once in their last 5 matches in the Prem. What is going on with you, Brighton? Lost my spot. Here we go. Manchester is red as Manchester Derby ends 2-1 to United. City, it's not funny anymore, man. Quit playing or else Liverpool are going to win this league. A much-needed 3 points for Ruben Amorim's man, though. I kind of snuck that in there for you. Okay. Spurs exploded for 5 goals in the first half to destroy Southampton 5-0. You knew it was going to be a long day you knew it was going to be a long day of marching on for the Saints as they let in the first goal in just 37 seconds into the match. See what I did there? That was clever. Of course, I messed it up, though. Chelsea get a routine win over Brentford as they finish 2-1. Brentford's goal came just before the 90th minute as Chelsea had already wrapped up the match. So, of course, it looks a little closer than it really was. And today, Monday, Bournemouth and West Ham finished 1-1 as Tyler Adams gave a penalty away for the softest handball you will ever see. I mean, if anything. But Bournemouth, who might be earning some flowers soon, we'll see. Come back thanks to a Turkish delightful goal from Enes Ünal free kick. See what I did there? Turkish delights?
Turkish delight?
Man. Clever writing there. Anyway, Vic, what that table do?
Oh, the table still looks great. The Shining Star on top, Liverpool are on top with 36 points in the number 1 spot. Also on top, if I haven't said that enough. They do have a game in hand with Chelsea right behind them. They have 16 games in. Liverpool 15 games in. Chelsea has 34 points in the 2nd spot. Arsenal in the 3rd spot with 30 points. And Nottingham Forest with 28 points. Man, you are not going to see Manchester City in the top 4. They have 27 points. They're tickling the top 4 now. Be crazy to see them in Europa next year, right? Or not in Europe. Oh, Jesus, that'd be crazy.
That'd be insane.
But they have 27 points. Coming up with another loss to the guy that started it all, Ruben Amorim, right? CP old coach beat Manchester City and started their big skid and just lost them again in Manchester United, which that game was crazy to watch. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. Manchester City played great for 85 minutes. Anyway, we'll talk about it later maybe. Ipswich Town. If we look at the bottom, Ipswich Town is in the 18th spot with 12 points. Wolverhampton Wanderers in the 19th spot with 9 points. And Southampton, 5 measly points. They're on a 3-game losing streak, holding up the rest of the table. Southampton, get it together, man. This is looking pretty rough for them lately.
Yeah, they also sacked their manager after that ass whooping that Spurs handed them. So, woo-wee. It's a lot of things going on for the teams at the bottom of the table, but we'll talk about that more in a second. The first thing I want to talk about, and I'm giving these flowers out willingly, Vic, for a team that I just usually don't like. We got to give Chelsea their flowers. And I know it's weird to give a team that's second place flowers. Like, yeah, duh, they're good. But that's not how it started in the summer. That's not the way we were looking at Chelsea earlier in this year or into this season even. We didn't know that they were for real title challengers, and they are. After it, I mean, I don't really know how Enzo Maresca has done it. This is his first time managing in the Prem, but damn, they look good. Whatever he's doing is working. Coming into this season, there were a lot of questions about Chelsea moving off of Pochettino and hiring a guy with limited head coaching experience and no Premier League experience. But obviously, he's shown that he was the right pick. But all they've done is scored 37 goals in 16 matches, which leads the Premier League, and are sitting second in the table, 2 points behind Liverpool. Of course, Liverpool have a game in hand. I know Vic would call me out if I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
That's now 5 wins in a row in the Prem and 7 wins in a row in all competitions. They also are perfect in the Conference League with 5 wins in 5 matches. I don't know what else to say about them other than they are really good, and it pains me. So there you go. Chelsea get their flowers.
You're trying to curse them, aren't you? I know you don't like Chelsea.
Hey, I'm a professional. I'm just doing my job. Okay.
All right, sure.
Yeah. But it is weird to see them up towards the top. I did not expect that. I was going through my notes for the season previews, and I think I put that if Enzo is the real deal, they have the squad to do it, but I'm not sure that he is. And seems like he is. Seems like he is. Okay. I'm done talking about Chelsea. Anything you want to say about them before we move off?
No.
Good. Thank you. When I say that Fulham have 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 loss in their last 5 matches, that doesn't sound impressive. But the context is key here. Fulham have had a brutal, and I mean brutal, December. The 6 points they've taken in the last 4 matches have been off of Spurs, Brighton, Arsenal, and Liverpool in successive matches. Like, that is hard. And they've not lost they didn't lose a single match out of those. The one they did lose was right before that. And they now sit 8th in the table on 24 points and have Southampton up next, who don't have a coach. So it's all good in the hood. It's all good vibes for the Cottagers. It's just really cool. I'm not giving them their flowers yet, though, because, well, until I can prove that's not a curse, we're gonna stay away from them. I have a couple of friends who are Fulham fans, so we'll give them one more match and see how they do. But if they beat Southampton, maybe they get their flowers. We'll see. Also, I just want to call out that I still have looming tickets for a game for the Fulham match against Chelsea from last season. So hopefully one day I get to go and check that out. Because unfortunately there was a tragic ending of a life that I didn't get to go see this match in the Prem. Anyway, every time I see Fulham play in that stadium, I'm just like, God, I should have been there. I should have saw it. Okay, and it's cool that they're doing really good. Fulham are fun to watch. Okay, let's move on to sacked managers or manager sacks, whichever way you want to put it. Russell Martin and Gary O'Neill were both sacked after their teams lost this weekend, leaving Southampton and Wolves searching for their next manager. Russell Martin and Gary O'Neill now join Steve Cooper and Eric Ten Hag as the other Premier League managers to be sacked this season. 3 of those clubs looking for a manager are in the relegation scrap. So if you're in the bottom 15 and not one of those 3 clubs, you got to be feeling good. Bottom 15 as in 15 to 20. Okay, just to clarify. Yeah. Crazy days in that bottom relegation scrap, and we're not even halfway through the season. So there's going to be some changes. There maybe these teams will get better. I don't know. Seems like we're in the thick of it, and you know how it is with all of the what do they call them, the festive fixtures. We're going to have 4 matches in the next 10 days once it gets closer to Christmas. So this probably going to shore up that bottom of the table real quick. And I'm feeling, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Leicester, Southampton, and Wolves are out. That's what I would say.
I think so. I don't think you can take Southampton out the way they've been. And Wolves, they're making a strong push towards that as well. 18th spot.
Putting up a fight. They're putting up a fight for that bottom.
Yeah, putting up a fight for it. Yeah, but the 18th spot, man, there's a lot of teams within 4 points of each other. So that'd be interesting to see too.
Well, there is a lot of soccer to be played until then, because we're only, match day 16? Mm-hmm. There's 38 match days. So obviously we got a lot to play. But so far it's been a hell of a season. and a lot of fun, a lot of fun covering it. And we're just getting into really the routine of this all. And it kind of sucks because now the match day that just ended for the Champions League, they don't have another match day. I think we just read it, right? It was like January 12th or 20th or something. It's ridiculous. Kind of sucks. But that means we have time to focus on the leagues. So we'll see. Maybe during these the off weeks that we have, we'll probably cover more in depth, like, more stats, golden boot leaders, stuff like that. It'd be fun to do. Little fun exercises.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. For sure.
Okay.
Hey,
well,
how about
you
let us know what you want to see us cover while we have a little break in some of the action here? Let us know down in the comments what you think you want us to report on. You want to see a little bit more Austin FC? You want to see a little bit more Wrexham? We can throw some of that stuff in there. A lot of stuff going on in the offseason for Austin FC. And we love deep diving into some of these teams: Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, and Serie A. So let us know what you think down in the comments below.
Hey, might as well wrap it up. I think we're good to go. Daniel, just to break the fourth wall here, Danny P is rushing us out the door because he has a soccer match that he has to get to. So we have to end this short. So,
he's got to go win the
take us home, baby.
Appreciate everybody for spending time with us. Please, again, let us know in the comments if you want us to see us go into any more detail about some league, or if we want us to really focus on your team. Tell us why your team should gain some more time here. But again, we appreciate it. Follow us on all our social medias. You'll see them down below. Everything's at No Business Soccer Podcast, or on X, No Biz Soc Pod. See you next time. I'm going to stop rambling. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you then.